Bias, like beauty, is often in the eye of the beholder. Facts are your firewall against bias. Tom Brokaw. And I agree with Tom wholeheartedly. Facts are our firewall against bias. The one thing that can kill you again and again in your practice trades that you're just going to have to learn by practicing. And that is confirmation bias. That feeling, oh, I feel like the market's turning around, so I'll get in early, instead of having a confirmed weekly vertical crossover to get you into the move. Oh, I feel like I can stay in this move even though you've penetrated trend lines, the 2-day chart has rolled over, the candles are killing you, whatever might be going on. It is not about what you feel. It is about what the indicators are telling you. Pilots die in plane crashes when they don't trust their instruments. They feel like they're going in the right direction. People sometimes are even flying upside down and don't realize it. They think one thing, they don't trust their instruments, and they crash into the ground, crash into the sea, hit power lines, mountain sides, whatever it might be. You trust your instruments. If you don't trust them, then you don't have any reason even flying an airplane in the clouds or entering into the marketplace, entering into a practice trade. Now, the reason that we practice 10 to 15 minutes every day is so that we can learn to trust our instruments, to trust our indicators. And that's what we're all about. We have a great training for you today. If you are a subscriber for free at chartingwealth.com, just go there, sign up. You will see in your show notes a great training, Beware of Confirmation Bias. The link is there in the show notes. Please take that. It is there for you. Just recorded it before today's program. What do we see going on in the market? We see stocks are mixed. We see the S&P 500 up 0.15%. We see the Nasdaq 100 down 0.08%. Bonds up, the biggest up for the day, 1.03%. Gold is up about 0.5%, 0.42%. Let's jump first into the S&P 500. As we always do when you analyze, you start with the biggest chart first. What do you see going on there? Well, we've reached a high so far this week of 309.99. That is higher than the prior weeks by about 30 cents, I guess 34 cents to be exact. Not a lot, but it is moving up. We have a nice trend line that we are above in price movement on the weekly chart. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. Price percent oscillator still heading up. That's good to see. So we go from our biggest chart showing continued movement to the 2-day chart. What is the 2-day chart showing us? Well, of course, this latest 2-day chart, this is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. 309.64 is the high. 309.99 was the high previously, so we've not reached a higher high as far as maximum price goes. We also probably need to redraw our trend line at some point. Guess we can go ahead and try to do that now. We want to do the best we can do to connect 3 candles, and it looks like we've been, whenever you draw trend lines, we have great trainings on trend lines and how to draw them bottom up, top down. As the charts are going up, you draw from the bottom. When the charts are going down, you draw from the top. You want to connect 3 or more candles to have a trend line that means something. So we can see we're right there on the edge of that trend line on the 2-day chart. Price percent oscillator still going up, but weakening some. Derivative oscillators weakening since it peaked out back on the 2-day candle on the 7th. And again, this is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. It will finish drawing on Friday. So we'll see how the week wraps up in our comprehensive review and forecast that we'll do at the close of the market, as we always do on Friday. We go to the 4-hour chart. We see that it has really just been sliding sideways, hasn't it, for 3 days now. What's really going on? Is the market topped off? Is this it? Is this where we're going to be? Well, price is still above the 2-day on that 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we saw down more in the morning, losing some of that in the afternoon. Price percent oscillator heading down, getting flatter. Don't know. We just don't know. We're just watching to see what there is to see. We can see Our biggest candle, our biggest chart and candle, of course, is showing up movement. That is the weekly price percent oscillator continuing to move up. It's really what we focus on the most. So that is showing us that the market, as far as the trend goes, is trending upward. Trend is your friend until the end, of course, and the 2-day still going up. So we'll watch, see what there is to see, and again, not let confirmation bias kick in and convince us that we're seeing something we're not seeing. What we are seeing from our charts on the weekly is that we're still in a confirmed up move. 2-day, still in a confirmed up move, a little weaker than it had been, but again, still up. 4-hour chart shows us a sideways slide. But again, the overall mood of the market, as shown by the weekly chart, up. Now, let's go to the Nasdaq 100 down for the day. Now, what's interesting, we're going to make sure we go to the weekly chart first. We see on the weekly chart that we have actually reached a higher high, both in the candlestick body and on the maximum up move. The wick on top, we see that. We see that the price percent oscillator still heading up nicely. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. Go to the 2-day chart. And what we see there is first day of the latest 2-day candle, red spinning top means indecision. And again, it's an open box red candle. It's not a red down candle. It's a slowing in the trend, some indecision there. First day of the latest 2-day candle. Price percent oscillator is getting flatter, so it's weakening. We can see that. Could just be sliding sideways as it did with the red open box candle back on the 22nd, the 2-day chart then. Could just be gathering some energy, digesting gains, getting ready to move up again. So we'll keep our eye on that. A little caution there. So we'll watch, see what there is to see. 4-hour chart shows us a sideways slide, really. I mean, again, that's where things are. Down for the day, like we said, just barely 0.08%. So we'll keep our eye on the cues, see what there is to see there. Again, the charts are showing us that we still have confirmed up moves on the 2-day and on the weekly. So the overall feel of the market still confirmed up move on that weekly chart. Let's go to bonds. What do we see with bonds? Well, big up day for bonds. 1.03%. Price is still well below the weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator still heading down. So the mood overall in bonds is still down. Derivative oscillator losing some downward momentum. And again, not going down at the angle it had been in the previous week. It slowed up a little bit. We can also see, as we've talked about, we've not reached a lower low. So we'd like to see that go lower. The candle body itself is a little lower, but not the bottom. So we want to see that for continued down movement. And of course, what we see with this big up move for the day, first day of this latest 2-day candle, we had a green, solid green. Again, that means slowing of down movement in that prior 2-day candle, green spinning top. And what we see happening on the first day of this latest candle is blowing through the 2-day trend line. Derivative oscillator losing momentum over the last 5 days. Price percent oscillator heading up, but hasn't crossed over. So definitely that down move is weakening, although the big chart still confirmed down. We go to the 4-hour chart, and that's where you see things having bottomed. We talked about this yesterday. Somewhere around the 134.50 mark, sliding along there, moving up for the last 2.5 days, almost 3 days. We had that crossover going up on the 4-hour chart back on the 13th, pushing through today. That is on Thursday. The 2-day trend line has not pushed through the weekly at this point. So again, down moves in bonds slowing. We can see that in the chart. So we'll continue to watch, see what there is to see, and if indeed we have any kind of change in trend. Not going to take place this week in bonds. Just doesn't look like that's going to happen. Too much to happen on a Friday. So lastly, we go to gold. We look at that weekly chart first. And of course, Big down week in gold. If you look at the candle, price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum, price well below that weekly trend line. We go to the 2-day chart and we can see how the first day of this latest 2-day candle pushing through, green up candle, open box green up candle, pushing through the 2-day trend line, just the first day of this. Price percent oscillator going flatter, derivative oscillator still gaining a little bit of downward momentum, but again, gold moving up. We see the 4-hour chart. We now have 2.5 days of up movement in gold, sitting right there on the 2-day trend line, well below the weekly. And again, the derivative oscillator went positive in the morning and the afternoon. So we'll continue to watch, see what there is on gold. Remember, the overall sentiment in gold and bonds is down. In stocks are up. So there are, again, some pullbacks in those areas. So we'll continue to watch, see what there is to see, how this market settles out on Friday, what happens then. And of course, at the close of the market on Friday, you'll have that comprehensive review and forecast. If you've not purchased our book, please do so. We've got the 13th printing, autographed copies for you. Sent a bunch out yesterday. And we've got one with your name on it. All you have to do is follow the link in the show notes, purchase it on Square. If you happen to live overseas, got an order in today from a good person from the UK. Go ahead and send us an email. We will be happy. You can email us cw@chartingwealth.com. We'll send you a PayPal invoice back. Pay that. We'll mail it to you wherever you are in the world. And again, friends, thanks so much. Hope you're going to take that training on Beware of Confirmation Bias. It'll be in the show notes. For all the subscribers, you're not a subscriber, go to chartingwealth.com, subscribe for free. Also, subscribe at our YouTube channel. When you're watching our YouTube videos, bottom right-hand corner of the screen, click subscribe. That helps us with our numbers. And we also are always happy to receive your comments, your questions, your concerns. You can leave comments there at YouTube. You can always email us, cw@chartingwealth.com. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.